Hi guys, my name is Mel and welcome back to the Oak House. Today I wanted to talk about a garage floor makeover that I did this past spring to give my garage floors a glow up. My garage doubles as both car storage and a workshop for refinishing vintage furniture. And over time, the floors had taken a beating from me working in the garage, refinishing furniture, and just life from having a car inside of it. So I wanted to make over the floors so that they would be more aesthetic for me to work in, but also be a nice space for clients to meet to pick up their furniture. So stripes is what I settled on. To begin the project, I started with cleaning the floors with an etching solution. You'll see that later in the video. And then the next step was putting down a primer. I ended up doing 2 coats using a bare primer and let each of those dry. You can see that there's a bit of runoff, I guess you could say, with the primer, and so I did smooth that out over time. This was the initial color choice I was going to go with, and these are 2 other options that I considered. As you can see, this is the one I actually landed on in the end. But after the initial primer went down, then it was time to put down a coat of the garage floor paint. And this is a creamy white color that I chose. I put down 2 coats of this paint. And this was in the spring, back when pollen season was in full effect. And so I had to make sure that I blew the garage out and cleaned the floor thoroughly each day. After putting the initial coat down of paint, then it was time to mark, measure, and tape off for my stripes. This was a little bit time consuming, but not nearly as time consuming as I think a stencil would have been, which is what my initial kind of plan was. So initially I wanted to go with like a camel color for the stripes, but once I got them down, I wasn't quite sold on the color. It was reading more mustard than camel. Nice color, but not what I was going for. So I ended up choosing a reddish brown color that really complemented the brick, and also I felt it complemented the cabinet color. Once the stripes were dried, I removed the tape. I did get a little bit of lift of the paint with this step, and so I followed up with touch-ups of the paint that did lift. The final step was to apply a clear coat, but of course, again, like I said, it's pollen season, so I made sure to clean the floors thoroughly before putting down 2 coats of a matte clear finish to protect the floors. And I loved it. Initially, I was going to do just one side of the garage because I do still have lots of furniture to be refinished on the other side. But once I got finished with it, it looked so good. I loved it so much that I said, I've got to do both sides. So the process began of moving all the furniture to the other side. Not the easiest, but with the help of a couple of furniture movers and determination, anything is possible. This is the concrete degreaser or floor cleaner that I used on the other side as well. Before I began the process, you literally just pour this on the concrete, let it set for about 10 minutes, scrub it in, and then power wash it off. After power washing, I did use a squeegee to help remove the rest of the water, and then you let it dry before the next step. And then the process begins again. Step 1, putting down the primer. I filled in the edges first and then rolled out on the rest of the floor to give it a good coat of primer so that the paint would adhere. I've used garage floor paint before at a previous home, and eventually a lot of it did lift, and so I really wanted to try my best to avoid that. So I'm doing extra steps that the can does not specifically specify to hopefully avoid that. Then it was time to put down the garage floor paint itself, and again I did do 2 coats. I didn't want to see the gray through the lighter toned paint that I was using. And I also didn't want to have leftover paint, so I actually think I did 3 coats on this side of the garage. After this third and final coat, it was time to prep for the stripes. And again, the process is to measure out the distance between each one, mark them with a straight edge, and then go back and apply the tape for each stripe. I settled on about a 16-inch stripe because I felt like that was a perfect scale for the size of my garage. But you can measure your garage to get an idea of what will be the best fit for it. And oh my God, I loved seeing this come together. The stripes being completed from completely side to side. So I ended up doing, I believe, about 2 coats of the red, maybe 3. I still had a little bit of paint left over. But once the stripes were completed, again, pulled the tape and did 2 to 3 coats of a clear coat and let that dry. And I think the can tells you to give it a week before you drive on it. But because, again, I know I've done this paint before, or a type of paint like this before, and it lifted a bit, I ended up giving mine about a month before I brought my car back into the garage. But this is the final result. I mean, and I love it. There's something about stripes. They just are timeless. They're always fun. And to me, they give the space this vintage parade or vintage carnival aesthetic, and I love it. This was completed about 3 months ago, and at this point I've been driving my car inside the garage for about 2 months at this point. And so I bet you're curious, how has it held up? I know I was very hopeful but also realistic that some of the paint may lift, so I'll be back to show a video of how it's held up over the past 2 months with use. But yeah, if you have any questions, drop them in the comments, and I'll be back soon to give you an update. Thanks for stopping by.